Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start with a new chapter, The History of Global Politics, and the name of the book is Global Politics by Andrew Hayward. So, this chapter starts with the definition of politics, which has been defined as a struggle over the best way to live together as societies. So, बात struggle की हो रही है, and then the target group it is society. And yes, politics is about people. Politics is about a group of people. So the target group here is the people themselves, and any set of activities, whether they are beneficial, whether they are influential, whether they are merely a set of normative action, or if those action may take another form. And all in all such actions they are there for the betterment of people. And जिस struggle की यहाँ बात हो रही है, it may be in narrower term, this may be a struggle for survival of a particular group. So likewise, a particular group, it is living in a hostile situation. Let's take the example of the Palestinians that are living among the war shadow of Israel. So here, this particular group, all their actions, whatever they are, either it is to fight a war or to flee it, both the action, fight or flee or to mobilize or to resort to any violent or non-violent action, all such set of activities, all this struggle, it is for their own survival. So one example is that. And then in the broader term, the struggle, it can also take the form of a liberal principle. So in broader term, when everything is okay, when the sun is shining, when it's all cool and peaceful, then people together they may look for the betterment dimension and look for the betterment of all. Then the study of this struggle is called history. So in a way, politics and history both are interrelated and they are inextricably linked. And just look at this sentence, which is a simplified version of the linkage between politics and history. That politics, it is the history of the present, whereas history is the politics of the past. Such a beautiful statement. So by studying global history, we come to understand the present circumstances. In a way, it can be accepted as फिलहाल जो चल रहा है, the status of geopolitics, the international relations, the trade issues, the conflicts, whether in our own country, whether at bilateral or multilateral level, जो कुछ भी that you see in front of you, all has a beginning. And by studying that beginning, or by studying those set of events from which the whole saga started, uh, we can come to understand what event or what situation led those beginning statements, those activator to the present situation. And if some of you may ask the veracity of lessons of history, दिमाग में अगर ऐसा हो, the question may arise कि history lessons, the lessons of the events that happened in past, बहुत सालों पहले जो कुछ हुआ, like in Neolithic times as well, even if it isn't Neolithic time, isn't that far, you may take Vedic times, that is around 600 BCE, or you can take the time of classical antiquity, which was around 1000 BCE. So from today's date, that can be around 3024 years old. So question is, क्या 3000 साल पहले के lessons are still applicable? Can those lessons can be taken as face value? So in order to judge the veracity of the tenacity of old lessons, The example here is provided of a political giant, a political strategist, the then premier of People's Republic of China, Zhou Enlai. So when he was asked in 1960s about the lessons of 1789 French Revolution, so it is possible 1960 1960 में किसी को पूछा about the lessons he may have derived from an event that happened 171 years earlier. That was in 1789. So for a common person, for a layman, 171 year is enough. These many years are enough to understand, to analyze any event in totality. 171 साल बहुत होते हैं. But then his response was that it is too early to say. So for him, 171 year were not enough to judge the actual intensity of that event, that revolution. So that is the beauty of historical lessons, that they are timeless. किसी भी time में they are applicable, and you cannot question the veracity, you cannot question the tenacity of applicability of those lessons. Then the next line, the modern world, it makes little sense without some understanding of the momentous events and transformations that have shaped world history. In another way, this is also talking about the same line that we have discussed here, is that history is still applicable, and to understand present, अभी जो भी है on individual, on regional, on national and international level, जो could be that you see in your concrete and abstract term, जो could be here, it had a beginning and it had a lesson. So अभी जो चल रहा है, if you want to understand it, study the history of it. Then what are we going to study from studying this particular lesson? So this lesson, it is going to answer these 6 questions. The first one is, how did international and global politics first emerge? Then second question, what role did colonialism play in making the present world order? Then what did the events that led up to the outbreak of First World and Second World War tell us about the causes of war? That is the fourth question. Fifth question is, what does the absence of world war since 1945 tell us about the causes? And the last question, what does world history tell us about the future of global politics? So let's start with the making of the global world. The first question is being answered here, from the first human to civilizations. So by archaeological evidence, the emergence of Homo sapiens, it is established around 300,000 years ago. So our subspecies, the Homo sapiens sapiens, we have been around for 300,000 years. And even though the archaeological evidence is from all over the places, they do not tell much about the people, but इतना बता देते हैं that they lived smaller and simpler life. So the question comes here that how did we manage to transition from that simple nomadic existence to the hyper-connected and highly populous global world of 21st century? So the answer, it is here. The beginning of recorded world history. So the history itself, it can be divided into 2 parts based on the emergence of writing. So on the basis of writing, the history that is recorded and the history that is unrecorded. So we have only 1% of our history that is recorded, and 99% of that, it is still unrecorded. So let's talk about this whole timeline. We have been around 300,000 years, and writing only started in 3000 BC. So all in all, writing has been around for 5,000 years. So out of 300,000 years of our existence, we have been able to record, we have been able to make use of writing only for 5,000 years. So the missing 295,000 years, we have lived an unrecorded existence. And this unrecorded existence, it could be divided into various stone ages. It was not that we were able to write in that time as well, but still we put off this activity for later time, or we postpone writing so that our ancestors, they, our successor, they keep guessing about the possible intention of not employing writing during the earlier time. So the unrecorded existence, it could be divided into our own evolution, the cultural evolution. Biological evolution uh, was also driving along, but it was the cultural evolution which we will talk about. So the unrecorded existence, it could be divided into Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic ages. So you can see in Subme, this lithic word, it is common, and which means stone. So all the three, they are stone ages, and they are so called because in that time our cultural evolution, it started with making use of stone tools. And ये सब stone tools या stone ages इसलिए कहते हैं because most of our history, unrecorded history at that time, that revolve around stone tools and the other paraphernalia, because it is the stone tools uh, that were the handyman or the key player that help in our survival. So ये कह सकते हैं all these ages, all the unrecorded time of our existence, it is clubbed into stone ages because it is the stone that were key players at the time. So Paleolithic, it was a time of crude stone tools. Then gradually the tools, they had a taste of technological upgradation. Tools got upgraded, and this also shows that from transition to Paleolithic to Mesolithic and Neolithic, it shows that stone tools, उनकी काफी जरूरत थी, उनकी काफी मदद हुई. They helped us a lot. They helped in our survival. If they hadn't, ये transition possible नहीं था. It could not have been possible if the stone tools, they could not be employable or they could not be helpful. So the stone tools, by somehow, because it is only the Paleolithic people know themselves how they made use of stone tools, but one way or the another, it helped in survival of our species. And this survival, it could be seen in this whole chronological account that we are talking about. And this chronological talk itself is testimony, is a testimony of the importance of stone tools at that time. So we survived the Paleolithic age, then we proliferated, and because of that, the tools, they got upgraded somehow. Tools became more polished. They made use of handles of bones and barks. They help us in keeping the predators out and in hunting and gathering. Then from the transition from Mesolithic to Neolithic, another technological upgradation in forms of fire, some crude level of habitations, and then more sophisticated tools, more sophisticated than the Paleolithic age. Then came the Neolithic age. And this age, which is situated around 6,000 to 7,000 years ago, it was also called revolution, the first revolution of mankind, because with it there came the initiation of agriculture, the initiation of domestication of both plants and animals, more polished and diverse tools. There was a use of metals in tools. Permanent settlement emerged. Those permanent settlements later gave way to cities, villages, towns, and those structures. So this is the whole chronological account before the emergence of writing. Let's go back to the chapter. So beginning of the recorded world history, it is often dated from the establishment of ancient civilization. So by here you can imagine when the permanent structures and the permanent settlement got started, and Yehi settlements, whether they were villages or towns or cities, Yehi बाद में they gave way to the crudest form of the earliest form of civilizations. And give geographically बात करें on the world map, so all these structures they were situated in this particular belt, the belt of Eurasia, and especially this fertile crescent, the belt which is in present day geopolitically known as West Asia or Middle East, that comprise many Middle East countries such as Israel, Jordan, Iraq, Iran, also Middle East countries. And it is from these countries that the first evidence of writing has been found. So the two key features of earlier civilization, they were agriculture, which itself started during the Neolithic, and with it started permanent settlement and the emergence of urban life. And the other important pillar of civilization was the development of writing. And the earliest known forms were from Mesopotamian cuneiform and Egyptian hieroglyphics, including the seals of Indus Valley civilization, which has not been deciphered till now. So all of these events, the emergence of writing, it could be dated around 3000 BC, which is 5000 years ago from today. And Mesopotamia, a place that is located between river Tigris and Euphrates in modern day Iraq, one of the center of civilization of Fertile Crescent, is this. It is often portrayed as the cradle of civilization because this place, it gave birth to three major civilizations: the Sumerians, the Babylonians, and the Assyrians. Now let's have a look at the growth of ancient civilization, the chronology of the growth of ancient civilizations. So from 3500 to 1500 BCE, these civilizations, Sumerian, Babylonian, Assyrians, and Egyptian civilization, they emerged and flourished. Then 2600 to 1900 BCE, Indus Valley civilization in Pakistan. Then 1600 BC, Shang dynasty, it started Chinese civilization, and all such warring state, they were eventually unified under Qin dynasty, by which China got its name. Then from 800 to 600 BCE, Greek settlement, they extended across the Mediterranean, Then 509 BCE, it was the birth of Roman civilization or Roman oligarchic republic. Then the Egyptian civilization, ancient Egyptian civilization across the course of the Nile, it also endured for 3,500 years. The ancient Indian civilization that could be traced to the Vedic age, which is extended from Indus to Ganges, from modern day Afghanistan to Bangladesh. It also started around 500 BCE with the birth of golden age of classical Hindu culture. Then let's have a look at the time around 1000 BCE. It is called the time period of classical antiquity. And it is so called because it witnessed the emergence of various civilizations in the area of Mediterranean Sea. This Mediterranean Sea and the emergence of subsequent civilization around it is also near to the fertile plains of West Asia, from which the first mark of civilization emerged, and it was also the area where the Neolithic people or the Neolithic revolution it first made its mark. And it is not difficult to understand why are people situating themselves, why are people of that time situated themselves near around water bodies. It is an open secret because water bodies के आसपास they could find all the things that are necessary for survival. So this period of classical antiquity, it started with the growth of Etruscan culture and with the spread of Phoenician maritime trading culture, which were followed by the other significant developments such as emergence of ancient Greece and ancient Rome. Ancient Greece, it is often viewed as the foundational culture of Western civilization, and ancient Rome, a vast empire that extended from Eastern Mediterranean across North Africa and included most of Europe. Let's have a cartographic look at it. So these are more or less a rough sketch of continents: North America, South America, Africa, Australia, Antarctica, Arctic, and this a fragmented area is known as Eurasia, which is separated by a long chain of Ural mountains that separate Europe from Asia. So here, this particular area, which is on the edge of Asia and adjoined by Africa, this area in modern times, it is known as West Asia, followed by Levant and Mediterranean. So Mediterranean name is so called because of the presence of Mediterranean Sea, and this is not difficult, this is not impossible to understand that um, the people of that time, our ancestor, which included the archaic Homo sapiens, and then all the Homo ancestors, the people of Homo stock. So it is generally believed that Africa, it was where the Homo sapiens first emerged and got dispersed in various places. And one more information that will help you understand the emergence and dispersal of Homo sapiens is the occurrence of Ice Age. So Ice Age was an age of ice that spanned from 2.6 million years to 11,700 years. This was the timeline of occurrence or existence of Ice Age. So by the name suggests, Ice Age was a time when the Earth it was completely covered under thousands of kilometers of thick ice. And this Ice Age it is followed by Interglacial Age. So according to scientists and geologists, the Earth follows a cyclical mechanism of ice age and interglacial ages. So right now we are in an interglacial age, which is geographically known as Holocene, and politically it may be known as, it is often called Anthropocene because of emergence of humans and the subsequent modifications made by it. So if we compare the Ice Age with the emergence of Homo sapiens, which is around 300,000 years ago, so from our emergence in Africa around 300,000 years to the gradual waning of Ice Age. So first, the first interpretation can be, so from 300,000 to 11,000 years, when Earth was covered with ice, we we survived the ice, and then second, इस आइस की वजह से all such bridges, all such water bridges everywhere, they were covered with ice, and so they were they can be used as land bridges, bridges of land, or bridges of ice bridges, which could be walked upon. And because of that, our dispersal from Africa to different area, it was possible. So scientists are not able to exactly derive the route or the mechanism employed by the people of that time, or either they travel by boats, or that they traverse they traverse various directions by foot. अभी तक ये नहीं पता चला है, and there wasn't any other mechanism possible. So either they could have employed boats, they could have used boats, or either they could have walked the whole way around on foot. But whichever way it is, the earliest sapiens, our ancestors, they got dispersed by using such frozen water bodies. And then it might be that around 11,700 years ago, when Ice Age went and the interglacial stage started, it gave way to emergence of water bodies and pastures, vegetations, water bodies, pastures, vegetation, and because of that, हम सबसे पहले settle here, this fertile crescent or this fertile area of Middle East. Now, coming back to the chapter, however, during the 5th century, this classical world of antiquity, it descended into crisis and chaos because of invasions by mounted nomadic people of Central Asia and steppes. Those people who lived around steppe mountains, above the Ural mountains into the present day Siberia and Russia and all such Balkans. So because of invasion of these people, these mounted people, they ushered a dark age, and most of the civilizations of Eurasia at that time, they got affected. And even the people of that time in Europe, they describe all such invaders as barbarians, even though racialization, it also includes the descendant themselves, the descendants of those nomadic people who are today form countries that are derived from Germanic and Slavic people. So in short, it means Germanic, Slavic, and all such people, they were the invaders. And आज जो country है Germany, Czechoslovakia, and all such Balkan and the southern European countries, they are derived from such invaders. Then this was this was the first instance of first wave of invasion during 5th and 6th century. Then in 19th century, another wave of invasion, it threatened the Eurasian civilization, and this threat came from Vikings, Magyars, and Saracens. And perhaps the most impactful of these nomadic people were the Mongols. Mongols who created an empire between 1206 to 1405, an empire of unequal scope and range. On Mongol Empire, it is stretched from eastern frontier of Germany, from Arctic Ocean to modern day Turkey and the Persian Gulf. And ये तो ज़्यादातर political science के students जानते ही हैं. The Mongol, the ferocious Mongol, they created one of the biggest, one of the largest empire, which is span in its size to that of the Roman, the Persians. So that is it. We will start with the next topic in the new video, the dawn of the age of sail. So this is it. Thank you very much.